Welcome to another edition of the Mail Time Podcast. I'm joined today by Aaron Rabinowitz in English. Just published a scandalous article in Haaretz titled "Millions of Dollars Donated to Israel's Zaka After October 7th Have Disappeared," documents show. Aaron, first, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to say that we first met about 90 seconds ago,
Yeah.
and I'm a person of the right. Haaretz is not my paper of choice. A lot of people have credibility issues with it in the same way that people on the left might have credibility issues or challenge things on the right. So this is the spirit of free discussion. I also want to say that the work of the volunteers of Zaka on October 7th and in so many hard situations following terrorist attacks is truly incredible. They are heroes, and having bringing up financial indiscretions or issues with a nonprofit organization is not the same thing as saying anything negative about those volunteers who are holy people doing holy work. And I just wanted to put that out there at the beginning to start. So, for those who perhaps haven't read the article, what are the biggest takeaways and most shocking allegations that you uncovered that was published today?
Yeah. So the main story, the main detail that we are uncover in this story, it's post the October 7, the Zaka organization launch a wide scale of donation and dinners, and they got a lot of interviews in the media and so on. And the head of the organization here in Israel, they gone out on a tour around the globe to raise funds to the organization. And we discovered that they managed to gather like some approximately 100 million shekel on only 2 months after the October 7. So we are talking about the funds that raised only in 2023.
You're not even talking about 2024 here. You're talking
Yeah,
just October 7th until
yeah,
December 31st, 2023.
yeah. So this is like 2.5 months, and we are not talking about 2024, and not talking the first quarter of 2025. So approximately 50 million shekels is raised here in Israel, and about 45 million shekels an additional raised in US in America. So we are discovered that approximately 80% of the money that raised in America uh, is not moving here to Israel, to the actual um, um, פעילות,
So it's not being moved to the actual activities
yeah,
and
activities.
what's
Yeah,
going on in Israel. So people are giving money and they're being told, and this is a very clear thing.
yeah,
There are important point, I should add.
yeah,
They are being told that they urgently need to give money to this organization to help with Chesed Shel Emet,
yeah,
Chesed Shel Emes, a mitzvah, a good deed that cannot possibly be repaid because Zaka is literally scraping bones, blood, and remains from the ground from people who are deceased and making sure that they're returned for proper burial. People in America are being told that there are urgently needed funds for this organization, and 80% of the money did not make it
yeah,
to Israel.
yeah, yeah. So we are not able to establish what is actual happened with all the funds that raised in America and also in Europe. So and the head of the organization here in Israel asked by the inside המבקר, I don't know how to
So
say it
there
in
was an
English.
internal review,
Yeah, internal
which is
review.
what, and I also just to point out again, and this is I'm preempting. I'm going to give a specific shout out to uh, loyal follower and friend David, who knows who he is. He always says he doesn't trust anything Haaretz says. You are not inventing these numbers. You're not just hacking someone's phone and figuring this out. These are this is a document that was prepared by the auditor. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Chaya
Yeah, Chaya Esh.
Ash. Okay, so this was an official document that you got your hands on
Yeah.
from the Israeli government, correct?
No, not the Israeli government. The inside reviewer in Zaka. This is investigation that start
Understood.
in Zaka.
So Zaka actually came up with this investigation.
Yeah. The president of the organization, okay, it's a businessman called Eyal Mashiach. Okay, he became the president of the organization after the scandal with the Yuda Meshi Zahav. He was the so-called founder of Zaka. He's not actually, but this is another story.
He's
Um,
a well-known or disgraced pedophile.
yeah.
I believe very famously received or was honored with lighting the torch at Israeli Independence Day, and then as that happened, victims came forward. Is that roughly correct?
No, this is also investigation that we published in Haaretz, me personally and my fellow coworker Shira Elk. And after this whole scandal, Jan Mashiach has became the president, the honor president of the organization. And after the October 7, he realized that the money, the funds that raised around the globe was not coming to the here in Israel to the bank, and he started asking questions like, "Where is the money?" And all the heads of the organization going around the globe and raising funds, and the local Zaka organization here in Israel found some of the flights and travels, and he said, "Okay, we send you to America, to France, to Canada, to UK to raise money, and I don't see the money here in Israel. So where is it?" And the head of the organization here in Israel said, "This is not a problem where the money goes, because this is another legal entity."
So they're basically saying that they're not. It's not actually under the auspices of Zaka and Israel, so
Yeah,
therefore they're not responsible for what the money's done, even though the express like if people give to the
even
American.
though they themselves raise the funds. I mean, they themselves go and do all the
Well, they're
parties
speaking
and
on behalf of Zaka. They're
yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're raising money, like American Friends of equivalent, and then the money, the understanding to the average person who'd walk in a room would be that it was given to this
going
organization in America for
going
the
here
purposes
in
of
Israel
tax
to
deduction, and then
volunteers
sent
that
immediately to Israel.
yeah, the volunteers that did the holy work after the October 7. And more than that, I mean, one of the head of the organization here in Israel is the actual director of operation of the העמותה, אני פשוט לא,
Nonprofit
the
organization.
non-profit organization in America. So there's a direct link between the head of the organization here in Israel and the organization in America. More than that, the head of the who's the responsible of the raising funds in the the organization in America is one of families of the head of the organization here in Israel. And the head of the organization here in Israel using the credit card that the for the organization in America. I mean, there is a direct link between the head of
When
the
you say
organization
using the credit card, what's he using the credit card for?
for expenses. I don't know. Just I mean, this is not my allegation. This is the
inter
reviewing.
inter Zaka allegation, essentially saying that on one hand, the head of the organization in Israel is claiming he's not related at all to anything
Yeah,
going on in the American nonprofit, but at the same time, he's using the American nonprofit's credit
credit.
card
Yeah,
for various expenses. So clearly, he is involved in some way.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
so, do you have it? Did anybody, any of your sources, have any sense of where that money is?
No, this is investigation that took place like 1 year. Okay, there was the first draft, and then the second draft, and then the third draft of the finding of the and this inquiry. So, and all of this time, the head of the organization asked again and again and again, where is the money? Please ask the organization in America, where is the money? And they said, this is not a problem. We are not connected whatsoever to these funds, even though they actually raised the money. Yeah. So this is very suspicious. And I have to tell you, the gap between what actually raised in America is approximately $12.5 million on 2023. It's about 45 million shekels. To what actually moved here to Israel. The organization in America report to the authorities in America that they have sent like third of the money, like four and some million dollars. Okay, but the organization here in Israel informed the authorities here in Israel that all they received only like uh, $2.5 million. Okay,
So
there is.
there's a $2 million gap between what roughly what the organization is claiming they sent
Yes. So
and what they
so
actually received.
yeah. So
So they're
so
claiming in America to the U.S. to the IRS to American tax authorities that they sent roughly four
third
and a
of the
half
money.
4.5 million. But the
Third of the money. Yeah.
right, but roughly about that. But the Israeli organization only received about two and a half.
Yeah. 1/5 of the money.
Are they like claiming it's a bad exchange rate or something?
No one explained what's the I mean, what's the reason of this not minor gap between the. Yeah.
And I just want to jump in for one thing. There were tens of thousands of soldiers that were missing vital equipment, that were missing tons of things, that had to fundraise, that had to sell personal property to be able to get basic equipment for themselves: vests, plates, helmets, night vision, drones. It's ongoing, crazy. It's absolutely crazy that this kind of money, even if you were going to raise it saying you needed it for urgent stuff for Zaka, that it wasn't immediately spent and sent over. You had displaced families, you had widows, orphans, everything. People genuinely need, and I'm so passionate, I hit my microphone. These people need the help. They needed the help. It was such a trying time. And for $2 million to just disappear,
It's not 2 million. It's like it's about 10 million.
I'm
Yeah.
saying two, just even in
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be freaking out about $200, let
Yeah.
alone $2 million.
And again, I want to point out this is only 2023 funds. I mean, we are not talking about the 2024 and 2025. According to the estimates it's about, I don't know, uh, big money, and they only sent in 2024 and the first quarter of 2025 only like $1 million. This is it. This is what.
The other thing that I need to be very clear about, and this is I had this with a number of organizations. I'm not going to name names here, other than what your thing was here. But October 7th happened. You're busy dealing with that, and I understand there's going to be needs for those who showed up. God bless them; they're amazing people. PTSD, other things that are vital to make sure these people can live functioning lives. Why in the world does Zaka need to claim that they need something like 100 million shekels or whatever the number was in immediate urgent care after October 7th. You're talking even December 31st of all of the things that are needed for Israel and Israeli society. What were they saying they needed? That's what I like. What do they do they need more tents? Do they need more oxygen tanks? Like what do they claim they need?
So to answer this question, we need to get some background of Zaka. Prior to October 7, I mean days before October 7, the organization here in Israel was on the verge of bankruptcy. Okay, it's nearly shut down because of death and debts. I mean, they lost tons of money.
It's
And
hard to
actually,
fundraise when your founding person is a pedophile.
this is not the issue. The issue is that the past 2 decades of Zaka, there always been a problem and suspicions around the fundraising and the whole finance issue in this organization. Okay, so the
So,
government
so you're saying that separate from Yehuda Meshi Zahav's sexual impropriety, Zaka was already on shaky grounds that didn't really contribute.
always there is an audited external audited on the organization and investigations and allegations, and there was an investigation on in here in the Israeli police against the whole fund the raise the fundraising in this organization. All the time there was rumors and suspicions and allegations and investigations about the using of the money, the corrupt using of the money. And so this is, and they're not, the head of the organization didn't know how to um, professionally handle the organization. So this is what, and obviously after the scandal with Yuda Meshizav, obviously there is, the problem will even go bigger and bigger. So days, I mean, literally days before October 7, Zaka organization was supposed to bankruptcy and to shut down. Okay, and then October 7 came, and they flooded with funds and money. Flooded. I mean, all over the world, everybody sees Zaka on the scene, in the footage, in the interviews, and they got interviews all over the world. And we know that one of the senior volunteers, named Yossi Landau, is I don't know how to put it, but lying about some of the stuff he saw in the scene.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
say, I just want to say one thing. I'll
Yeah.
jump in for you, and then we're gonna pause you right there.
All right.
Yossi Landau did amazing things on October 7th, showing up to try to help. For whatever reason, he misrepresented a number of things, including, but not limited to, babies in ovens. There were no babies in ovens. Babies that were beheaded. There were no babies that were, picked up and beheaded. Now, does that mean that killing children and innocent civilians is less bad? No, it does not. In fact, it does not make a difference in the moral depravity of Hamas whether or not they did that. It really does not make a difference. They are evil, horrible, not even human beings. Um, he also claimed there was a pregnant woman that was cut open and the fetus was removed, and complete lies and fabrications. Now, was it PTSD? Was there something else? I'm not sure. Okay. I do know that in a separate thing, based on my conversations, there was one case the anti Semitic media has picked up on, like Golan Vach. And my conversations based on that issue was actually that the bodies were burned beyond recognition, and the pieces of bodies that were picked up actually appeared to be baby sized because of the just sheer destruction. And whoever picked it up, that's where they came with, where there's an interview where Golan says, there's 8 babies and genuinely in that room, the people that were in that room thought that they were babies just because they had never encountered something quite like that where people had been burned, and that's what it was. But it wasn't like a malicious. Oh, not that Yossi's was malicious, I don't think, but it was that. Then Eli Beer from United Hatzalah goes at the Republican Jewish Coalition conference in Las Vegas, and he spreads the misinformation from Yossi Landau and says, I saw with my own eyes what Yossi Landau described. And the damage that these stories did on the international stage, just look at Al Jazeera's reporting, look at all of these places. And I'm not even talking about Haaretz. I'm talking about and we can make it, listen, I don't love Haaretz, but
It's okay.
no, but
It's
I think
okay.
that on this issue in particular, it's important that we're very honest about what happened. You don't need to dramatize October 7th.
Exactly.
And there were sensationalized stories that were made up out of whole cloth. And that gave ammunition to people that really hate Israel. So, end of this footnote here. And
Yeah.
again, you can debate whether or not, whatever, but I do think that Zaka didn't make a good enough apology when they
Yeah.
realized that it really didn't happen.
Yeah. So we need to point out two things. One, Yossi Landau fabricating these stories, these horrible stories, from my understanding, made fortune to Zaka. Okay, because every interview that he made after October 7, he was interviewing all over the place, with
I mean,
obviously the Zaka vet.
Prime
And
Minister Netanyahu mentioned it to President Biden.
yeah, but also when he is interviewing, this means money. Okay, because you get um, publicity for Zaka. Okay, and then you get the money. This is very simple equation. Okay, publicity means money, and when you have exclusive story because you made it up, and this is horrible story, so every media on the planet wants to interview you, then you get a lot of money. Okay, I'm not saying that he does it because of this, but I know it's a fact that these stories made Zaka millions. Okay, so this is
I
one
just want
thing.
to say one thing. I just want to say one thing on that. I I think it's true. What you're saying is true. Um, I know hundreds of people, thousands of people that have been in crazy situations in the last 20 months, and it has a really serious mental effect on a lot of people. I think it's bad practice to put to put those people in front of a camera right away. If you know someone's having a really tough time emotionally, he should not just be out there speaking. I'm just trying to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but yes, the effect of it was, of
Let, let,
course,
let, let me
yeah.
jump in on this. Let me jump in on this. I published a investigation story about Zaka and they all um, um, activity on the October 7th. A lot of bad things and behavior was doing that, but I'm not getting into this right now. But I was speaking with one of the head of Zaka on the south in October 7th. And he told me, and this is recording on my phone. He told me, yeah, I was there when Yossi Landau uh, uh, told the people around him, this is the woman, the pregnant woman with the baby, with the baby. Yeah, this story. And I went there. Yossi called me, and I saw this is no baby. This is no a pregnant woman. So, and I told Yossi, this is not this issue. So I told him, you know that this story that Yossi Lando's spreading around is not true. Why you didn't stop him to interview about this incident? Because you were there. And he told me, no, we didn't want to hurt him and to make him feel bad, and just we let him go with it. This is what he told
Yeah, so
me.
I would say that's malpractice on that person's part and is completely unacceptable. Like that's absolutely insane, right? Someone, but I'm blaming the person who sees that and doesn't say something. Like if
Exactly.
someone is in that situation and they have a very traumatic experience, like like there was a woman there, right? There's a dead woman on the floor. That is traumatic. You go in, you have no idea if Hamas is still there. You have no idea where anyone is. People are jumping out of bushes. Let's not forget, and this is, I'm going to sneak in my disdain for Yoav Gallant into this interview. And when he says the South was all secure, no. Soldiers were killed by Zikim Beach on October 11th. They jumped out of a bomb shelter and ambushed Magalan soldiers. So don't tell me that everything was secure. It was not secure. People were they didn't know exactly what was going on. So they're doing heroic things. And to go and have to face piles of bodies, everything is very traumatic. And if you know that someone's telling you that this is a dead woman with a baby and it's clearly like a phone or a cord or something, then you have to say something. It's reckless to go and do that. And it has extreme damage for the state of Israel because it undermines credibility with what happened on October 7th, which was already so heinous. Like it's so unnecessary. Why did they let that happen? It's crazy.
Yeah. So the issue of the finance of the organization is very, very this is a very key issue in Zaka. Okay, there is a lot of rivalry here in Israel between some of Zaka organization. There is like 6 or 7 different Zaka in Israel, and they fighting all the time about the donations and publicity and whatever. Okay, they're fighting in courts, they're fighting private investigation. I mean, this is mayhem. Okay, so and this all rivalry uh 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 caused them to do crazy
So
crazy
your
stuff.
theory, if I understand here, is because Yossi Landau was involved with Zaka South, that they were pushing this kind of stuff to get more attention for Zaka South versus other Zaka organizations that.
It's not Zaka South. This is Zaka Jerusalem. I'm not
Okay, so you're
going.
saying whatever his segment
Yeah,
is.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Understood.
This is the same Zaka that we are published this the latest
Correct.
story.
Okay.
Yeah. So and you need to understand. I mean, they get, and I have pictures and videos of this kind of incidents that they're volunteers from this Zaka uh, getting into car accident scene or whatever, and the second volunteers from the other Zaka goes, and they fighting over the body. Okay, just who bag the body will be put inside, because the logo, okay, each organization will be on the pictures on the media. I mean, this is kind of rivalry there is in Israel between the Zaka, and I have pictures and videos whose, yeah, 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 exactly what you hear. There is a so cynical, um um I don't know how to put it.
You're just
I mean,
saying
I
that
mean,
something that is supposed to be such a
holy.
generous thing and is supposed to be without ego, because again, chesed shel emet is becoming literally fighting over a dead body. They are fighting over a
Yeah,
dead body.
yeah. The whole organization, the meaning behind the organization is to preserve the honor of the dead. Yeah, and they fighting over the deads, who's getting more money and who getting more publicity and whose logo on top on each other. So if a body was already bagged in the rivalry organization, they will put it in another bag. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy,
And you have
and this is
videos
not
of
only
this.
and this is not October 7. I mean, this is
You have
years
videos
of
of this?
yeah. This is
This is crazy.
years. This is years of fighting between the organization. This is crazy.
You
This
mentioned
is
also
crazy.
something about receiving money from a non-Jewish organization. I want to skip on that just because of our time, but something you said about the essentially falsifying documents for the Israeli government. To quote you, it says, and this is the English version, but in its reports, it says, then to show Zaka's seriousness in addressing the issue, it gave the rabbis who objected to accepting donation a document with the names of the volunteers who had been informed of the bad optics, all 900 of them. But in its reports to government agencies, Zaka claims that it had 4,000 volunteers, a number that increases the government's support for it. So, how many how many volunteers does Zaka actually have, and how does the government support them? So, what's the incentive to have 4,000 volunteers on paper?
Yeah, so the way that they get found is by the by capita. I don't know how to say it. I mean, each the
Per
more
capita, per
volunteers
person.
per person. Yeah, yeah, okay, per person. So the more volunteers you have, the more money you get. Okay, this is a complex combination of founding, but this is one of the condition to get paid for the from the government. You need to show how many volunteers you had, and according to this, you get the founding. So Zaka always says there are 3,000, and then they say 4,000, but we know it actually boots on the ground. They basically have like more than 500, maybe 400. There is a lot of there is more than basically 400. There is not volunteers that go to the field. They like back in the offices and do like management stuff. Yeah. So, but if we gave him these volunteers also that they maybe work once or two in year in 1 year, uh, they have like 800 to 900 volunteers. Okay.
So, how many? Okay, I want to go back to my original question to you, though. If these are all volunteers, how much are they even paying in salaries? So, like, what? Why did it? Why would they even need all this money?
I don't have a good answer to this. Okay, this is not a like United Atzala or MADA. They had a lot of medical equipment and stuff like this. I mean, the volunteers of Zaka, what did they do? They're not identify the bodies. They're not doing anything like this. They're just collecting bodies. I mean, they need gloves and bags, basically. Okay,
Well,
and
and tools to identify things.
yeah, I mean, but this is very basic tools. This is
Right.
not a high tech equipment. So I don't know what they need, and I don't think that they realize that they getting this much money.
Oh, because they didn't even have a sense of how much money was coming in. They didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you mentioned something here about using money for cars. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is not me. This is the inside investigation of Zaka. And they say the some of the volunteers, including one of the head of the organization, using the fundraising events to raise money for their own to buy cars to themselves. And I know there is a big feud inside Zaka over this particular issue
So,
because
how
the
many
head of
cars
the
do you think, or how many cars your sources tell you approximately how many cars were or they don't
I
even
don't
know
know.
because they don't know how much money came in.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Um,
I don't have the number.
so Zaka, it seems like it's an organization in despair. I'm assuming that you got this report from somebody inside Zaka who is quite upset about what's going on. So, is there a lot of infighting going on?
Well, actually, there is a lot of inside fighting that's going on, but actually, the main documents that bases this story, it's a public records. Okay, this is the what the Zaka organization here in Israel reports to the government, and what the Zaka in America reports to the government. And you just need to take this document and compare it to the America document, and you see the numbers. This is not a big, you know.
What's the pushback been or the feedback so far?
Most of the comments that I see, it's like, what's new? I mean, this is no surprise. Okay, so actually, we are just finished publish documentary series here in Israel about Yuda Meshizav and this whole sexual abuse scandal, and we see that Zaka in Yuda Meshizav is not actually the founder of Zaka. It's not how he presented himself all of these years. He presented himself all of these years. I am the founder of Zaka, and we found Zaka in this incident in 1989, and then we realized he was not there in the scene. He's just lying the whole time. So when you see this and you see the whole founding of Zaka was based on a lie, on a big fat lie, and the whole finance problem and the fighting between the organization, you see a very corrupt organization. And again, the vast majority of the volunteers on the field, they're holy people and they're good people, and I don't have anything bad to say about them. I'm talking about the organization, and I'm talking about the heads of the organization. They are the problem, and you see a corrupt organization from the beginning to these days.
Unbelievable reporting. I really appreciate taking the time. And as this continues to evolve, I hope we can have you back about this and other stories. If anyone from Zaka is watching this or feels that they would like to participate in a bigger discussion, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to do that. If anyone has other information, please reach out. Again, what's most troubling about this, even beyond this one organization, is just that there are so many people and so many causes that truly do need the help. And when you see people take advantage of others' generosity, it is truly sickening, and it has to be addressed because there are so many people that have been affected by the impact of this war and even needed assistance before October 7th. And to see people that would potentially take advantage of that and misuse money is disturbing. Aaron, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
And it's good for coexistence here. Don't think I'm a fan of Haaretz. Don't do that. But we can have a discussion about key issues.
I don't hold it against you.
Don't hold it exactly. So, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.